What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chuds BBQ. My name is Bradley Robinson, and today I'm going to show you how I made these. Beautiful, delicious, smoky, fluffy, scratch-made, amazing breakfast sausage kolaches made entirely on a pellet grill. Coming up. This is some meat. Ooh. Pat it dry. And what I got here is some chunks of pork butt as well as some pork belly, which should give us a nice fatty sausage, which is something I tend to do when making breakfast sausage. I feel like it really does come out a lot better when it's leaning a little fattier rather than leaner. And today we're making some Texas-style breakfast sausage kolaches. And right off the bat, I need to tell you that I do know that a sausage kolache is technically called a klobasnik, and a regular kolache is just a sweet pastry filled with fruit or some jam or something like that. But around these parts, the sausage kolaches are just called kolaches, not klobasniks, and that's what I'm going to be referring to them as throughout this video. But just know, I do know the difference, and you don't need to fill up the comment section telling me that. And if you haven't had a Texas-style kolache before, it's essentially a big pig in a blanket, where it's really nice, sweet, fluffy dough wrapped around a sausage and baked off. And the sausage types can vary. You see a lot of jalapeno cheese, a lot of just regular house links. But oftentimes when I eat a kolache, it's for breakfast or a little brunchy snack situation. So I figure it should work out really well with some links of some breakfast sausage. And last time I made these on the channel, I made some regular-sized big boy sausages, so I think these should be really cute with a tiny little, hot dog-sized breakfast sausage and be really tasty. But just like that, all cubed up, looking really nice. So now I'm gonna pop these into the freezer for a little bit to get nice and cold so we get a nice clean grind. Spices for our breakfast sausage today are super easy. And that's because today we're busting out the Chuds BBQ breakfast sausage mix, and we spent a lot of time dialing this one in, and I'm super happy with how it came out. All the classic herbs and spices like sage, little red chili flake for that background heat in there. And this is a great place to start if you want to get into sausage making, but you don't want to invest in all the gear, because you can just buy one of these packs, go pick up some ground pork or grind it yourself, and make yourself some breakfast patties. Very convenient. But we are in fact going to case this up today, and there's no binders in this, and I do want to add a binder today because I want to make sure these sausages are nice and plump, and also because they're wrapped in a pastry. If it springs a leak or some of the fat leaches out or something like that, it could sog out the pastry, which would not be ideal, and especially because I'm making the sausage on the fattier side of the 70-30 fat ratio. I'm going to go ahead and add some Sous Vide. This is a carrot fiber binder, really great for making sausage. You don't need a whole lot. I'm doing about 1% of the weight of the meat. And this stuff is great because it's a binder. It'll help with water retention. But Sous Vide is unique because unlike a lot of other binders, it can absorb rendered fat. And again, I don't want any fat leaching out. I want these nice and taut and to keep all the water and the fat in the link. So we're gonna add some of this as well. So in we go. All the salt and spices that we'll need for our 5-pound batch, as well as our Sous Vide. And get that all mixed up. And now that our meat is nice and cold, through the grinder we go. And I've got the fine die on there so we can get a nice tight grind on this, a little less coarse than a typical Texas sausage. And we're gonna send it through one time. Beautiful, nice clean grind on that. So now all we need to do is add in our spices. Gotta love a super convenient sausage mix like that. But of course, if you don't want to buy a sausage mix and you want to make your own, you can check out some of my other breakfast sausage videos from years past on this channel, where I've got a couple of good recipes for it. But just trying to get this as evenly distributed as possible in here. Make sure nothing's caking to the bottom. And now we're gonna go in with our liquid. This is just some water, 10% weight of the water by the weight of the meat. And now we're gonna give this a nice thorough mixing until everything comes together and it's nice and sticky. And after a good 4 or 5 minutes of mixing, this is looking really good, a little more homogeneous, and is feeling nice and sticky, sticks to the hand, which is a good thing. So now what we got to do is case it up. Well, been a minute since I used some sheep casings, but put on the wrong size horn. Glad I caught that. Going on with some natural sheep casings. Whenever you're buying these, always try to find the highest quality ones you can. I get these from the sausage maker. They come pre-tubed, but they're a lot better than some of the other ones I've tried because sheep casings can be a real big pain in the butt to work with. They're just a little bit more brittle and tend to pop, so I like to keep a little bit of water in there to help lube this onto the horn here. Little guy. Tie it off. Snip the tip. And now we begin the tedious task of casing up a bunch of tiny wieners. Thinking standard breakfast sausage size, something like that. And that's looking good, nice and plump. So far, no blowouts. Gotta be happy about that. Shouldn't have said that. And just like that, all cased up, only 2 blowouts. Pretty good. I'll take that any day of the week with some sheep casings. But these are looking nice and plump and looking pretty dry already, but it is over 100 degrees out here, so that'll happen. But now I'm gonna park these in the fridge overnight. And that's always proper protocol if you have the time, because that's gonna allow time for the casings to dry out even more, making them nice and snappy. It's gonna allow time for that meat to bond back together. Also let the salt work on the meat. And because this sausage in particular is full of dry herbs, letting those bloom and hydrate will only do us some good, so this will taste a lot better tomorrow. This video is brought to you by Rinse. Rinse is the first and largest national brand in clothing care. They provide a high quality, seamless laundry and dry cleaning delivery experience. Basically, you schedule a pickup on the Rinse app or at rinse.com. Then a Rinse valet will come to your door between 8 and 10 p.m. and pick up your clothes, get them professionally cleaned or dry cleaned, and then return your crisply folded clothes right to your door. And for dry cleaning, they'll return it in this nice garment bag. Very fancy. Rinse is all about making laundry and dry cleaning simpler, smarter, and more sustainable. It's available 7 days a week with same-day pickups available. And you can also set it up for pickups and drop-offs when you're not even home. The Rinse app makes the chore of doing laundry or dry cleaning so much simpler, with expert care for all types of clothes from basics to delicates, and they use environmentally safe cleaning practices. Also, every order is backed up by their industry-leading guarantee. If you're not satisfied for any reason, Rinse will re-clean your clothes for free. And I gotta tell you, it is super convenient because I do a lot of laundry working in the barbecue world, but one thing I never do is dry cleaning. And I've worn the same suit to a whole bunch of different weddings, and I have not cleaned it in between because I just can't be bothered to go to the dry cleaner. So having someone come to my door, pick this up, get it perfectly cleaned and pressed and delivered right back to me without me having to lift a finger is unbelievably convenient. And I must say, they did a great job because this suit has never looked better. So if you want to let Rinse handle your laundry so you can focus on what really matters in life, click my link down below to save $25 off your first order. Again, link in the description, where using my link you can save $25 off your first order using Rinse. Thank you, Rinse. One overnight later. These are looking nice and dried out, feeling a lot more firm to the touch. The casings are looking nice and tight, so all we need to do now is get them all snipped apart. And now we've got ourselves Sausage Mountain. Look at that big, beautiful pile of wieners. Now, I've been a little conflicted all day about whether I should wrap these up raw and throw them on the smoker or cook them through first. And the concern is, if we just wrap raw dough around a raw sausage, we're really hoping that the sausage cooks all the way through at the same time that the pastry dough gets browned and fully cooked. Because if that dough is fully cooked and this is still raw inside, we're kind of out of luck. And also, wrapping dough around a raw sausage just seems kind of gross. So I think I'm gonna cook a few of these off, just low and slow, to bring these up to temp. That way, when we're baking these off, all we need to make sure is that they're fully warmed all the way through. And I think that'll also improve the casing if it dries out even more and cooks a little more on the outside. So let's go ahead and throw a few of these on the pit. Boop. And on the pit we go. Got this pit fired up to about 180 degrees, which means we should be rocking closer to 200, 225 up top here. Gonna keep these on a wire rack just to make sure they don't get too dirty, although it really doesn't matter all that much. And we're just gonna shut it down. Got some Smokin pecan shell pellets, my pellet of choice in there. These have been really good to me, good smoke flavor, consistent burn, and they're made of 100% pecan shells. Highly recommend checking these out if you haven't tried them before. I'll have a link in the description box if you want to save 10% off your first order. But as far as this cook goes, it should be really quick. Those are some tiny sausages, cooking around 200, 225. Just trying to dry out the casings a little bit more, get a little smoke flavor on them, and bring them up to an internal temperature of around 150, which definitely won't take very long. 45 minutes later, these guys are looking good, temping right at 150, so off these come. Feeling nice and plump, nice and firm, which is good. I'm gonna drop these into an ice bath here just to kind of rapidly cool them down and shock those casings so they're nice and snappy. And again, the main reason I wanted to cook these was, one, to add a little bit of smoky flavor to them, two, firm them up like they are right now, which will make them a lot easier to wrap, three, to ensure we have a nice snappy casing on these, and also to make sure they are in fact fully cooked. But I'm gonna let them chill in the ice bath for probably about 10 minutes, and then we'll pull them out, dry them off, and see how they're looking. And just like that, out of the water bath, gave these a nice little pat dry, and they're looking beautiful, nice and plump. Very happy with how these are looking, and obviously I didn't cook all of them. But if you're gonna go through the hassle of dealing with sheep casings and making a whole bunch of tiny wieners, you might as well make a bunch, because I'm gonna vac seal up the rest of those and pop them in the freezer, because I don't mind having a bunch of breakfast sausages on hand. But for now, I'm gonna set these aside because we gotta make ourselves some dough. Starting by going into the stand mixer with some milk and our eggs, our sugar, and our yeast. And give that a quick little mix. And then in with our all-purpose flour and our salt. And let that come together. And once that's all come together, in we go with a whole bunch of butter. This is a really rich and really sweet dough. So while this runs, I'm gonna slowly chip in all of this butter and then let it knead for probably about 10 minutes or so. And once that's come together, we've got a nice smooth dough, and it's pulling away cleanly from the side of the bowl. Out it comes. Very nice, supple dough, but not too sticky, which is exactly what we want. So now into a greased bowl we go. And we're gonna let this rise for the next hour or so. And once our dough has doubled in size, out it comes, looking very nice. Punch some of that air out. Boop. Very nice dough to work with. And now we need to portion this out into some dough balls, and I'm not quite sure what size to go with, so I'm gonna start with like a 50-gram dough ball. And then we're gonna form this into a nice little ball, trying to get all the seams underneath so it's a nice smooth topped ball, pinching everything together. And then give it the old table roll so it's nice and smooth and tight and round. Just like that. And now we repeat and realize that you made way too much dough. That's fine, we'll just bake some of these off for some little buns. Pinchy, pinchy. This is such a fatty dough. I love it. Beautiful. And now that I got all my dough balls, I'm gonna let these rest for about 15 minutes, just to let that gluten relax a little bit, which will make them a little bit easier to roll out. As for the rest of these, I'm probably just gonna bake these off and have some sweet buttery buns. And after letting these relax for just a couple of minutes, we're gonna flip it upside down, and we're gonna roll this out. Making it as wide as you want it to be. You can get full coverage on your wiener or have the ends poking out, kind of like a pig in the blanket. Then we're gonna grab our breakfast sausage link, pop it right in the middle, and just start rolling this up with the seam side landing on the bottom ideally. Beautiful. Go ahead and pinch this seam shut so nothing unravels or anything like that. And that is looking pretty much perfect to me. Again, I'm kind of going for straight up pig in a blanket style, but you could fully enclose this with pastry if you wanted to. But now I'm gonna pop this onto a Silpat lined baking sheet and repeat the process. Nice tight wrap on there, kind of stretching the dough as I wrap it. Pinchy, pinchy, good to go. And once all nicely wrapped up, I'm gonna let these rise for another 30 minutes or so, just to let that pastry kind of puff up and proof for a second time. Then it'll be time to cook them. And now that these have relaxed and poofed up a little bit more, we're gonna go ahead and hit them with an egg wash to make sure they're nice and golden brown all over. Try not to get any on the sausages, because that might cook on a little weird. And at this point, you could throw these right in, or you could top them with whatever you like, a little flaky salt, poppy seeds, or some everything bagel seasoning, because that sounds good to me. Let's do a couple though. Also, last time I made these on the channel, I took some pickled jalapenos and I put them on top of a couple of these. That was really good, but I don't have any today. But now all we gotta do is throw these on the pit. Got this pit cranked up to 375 degrees on this thermometer. I set it at 380, and it's kind of fluctuating around that point. But nice and toasty, and in we go. I'm gonna go right in the middle. And these should only take about 15-20 minutes. We're about 10 minutes into this cook. Let's take a little peek here. Looking really good. That dough looks nice and puffy. Nice and smooth too. Not getting too big, which is good. But I'm gonna flip these around for even cooking and let them go for another 10 minutes or so. We are at 35 minutes on this cook, and I've come and rotated them every 10 minutes to ensure even cooking. And these things are looking shockingly good. I am super impressed with how even they are. The color is perfect. They just look so good on a pellet grill. Who knew? But now it's time to pull these off. Fresh out of the pellet grill, I transferred these to a wire rack so the bottoms don't sog out as these cool down. And we need to let these rest, and I found with kolaches or sausage kolaches like this, they take a really long time to cool down. And that's because we've got a ripping hot sausage that's basically got a thermal blanket wrapped around it. So definitely don't want to bite into these when they're too hot. But my God, they're so shiny, they're so plump. No blowouts or anything. Pretty happy with that. And there they are in all their glory, folks. Some beautiful scratch-made breakfast sausage, Texas-style kolaches, some with some everything bagel spice, and some in the nude. And here's some of that other dough I cooked off just for fun, and spoiler alert, those are really tasty. But let's see how these came out. I think to start things out, we'll go for one of these plain guys, but everything came together perfectly, nothing blew up. Bottoms are looking a little dark, but that always happens when you're cooking on a pellet grill because of that bottom up heat. But just the color of these, the sausages are nice and plump. I also temped these sausages, and they were like 189 degrees or something when I pulled these off, so you could definitely get away with not cooking these sausages if you didn't feel like it, but in theory it'll still help it make for a snappier, slightly smokier bite. But without further ado, ooh, that is shockingly good. I mean, I knew it'd be good. It's a freshly baked pastry around a wonderful homemade breakfast sausage, but ooh, that is so flavorful. That sausage is so good. Nice and fatty, but completely stayed together. That pastry is perfectly cooked. Nice and fluffy, super buttery, nice and sweet. That's a winning bite right there, folks. Nice little cross section there. And it looks like a heavy dough to meat ratio. And it kind of is, but it also is super squishy. A perfect cook on that sausage. Nothing blew out or sogged out the bottom or anything like that. And this dough is just so good. Let's go for one of these guys. This can only be better. Oh yeah, the bagel seasoning is the way to go. A little extra salty pop on there. I don't know why I haven't made these sooner, because this is a perfect little morning snack, you know what I mean? Soft, squishy bread with a breakfast sausage link in the middle. I don't know if I should dip this into mustard or into maple syrup, but honestly, I don't think it needs a dip. This is perfect by itself. Oh. I really wish there was somewhere around me where I could pop in and get a coffee and a couple of these bad boys. That's how I'd start every day of my life. They're so good. Gotta tell you, this dough is super easy to make, really easy to work with, super forgiving. And these alone are worth making. It's kind of like a donut meets a burger bun. Bready, but more cakey, because it's really high fat and high sugar, but so tasty. And then just buy some hot dogs or something, wrap them up. You don't have to make your own sausage, but highly recommend it. This is 100% something I'm doing again. Probably very soon. I wish I made more, but I don't need to eat more right now. And I'm not sure how long these will last. Maybe you could freeze them. I don't know. I like it. And just look at the color of these things. That was on a pellet grill. That's awesome. Not really picking up much smoky flavor on them, but still better than cooking inside. Brooke,
yes.
Would you like to try some breakfast sausage kolaches?
Yes. Love kolaches. Okay.
They're the same thing, just one has a bagel topping on top.
Get out of here.
Yeah, the flies are back. Ooh.
That's good.
Oh, good.
The breakfast sausage? I think I might like that better than the normal. I would like a jalapeno in here.
You want to have a jalapeno in there? I thought about putting some jalapenos on top, but I forgot to buy some.
Oopsie. No, this is delicious.
Super easy to make, too.
Okay, you know what would be good, though?
What's that?
A little drizzle of maple.
I was just saying that. I said I don't know if I should dip this into mustard or maple syrup.
A little of both.
We were also talking about maybe a little cinnamon sugar dusting on top. Lean into the whole breakfast pastry side of things.
This is good.
Can you believe that these were baked on a pellet grill? They look so perfect. What should we kolachify next?
Okay, yeah.
That's the real question. Maybe something super spicy.
Uh-oh. My little bean is poking.
It happens. I am glad that these are, for the most part, staying in there, though.
Yeah.
I'm liking it. I'm going to make these again. For sure.
Delicious.
But before I go ahead and eat like 4 of these off camera, I think it is time for the official taste test. All right, y'all, and that is it. That is how to make some absolutely fantastic, smoky, homemade breakfast sausage kolaches. I highly recommend giving this one a try. You know, that sausage alone is worth making, and these kolaches came out so much better than I was anticipating. And it's a really easy process, too. They come together pretty quick if you don't make your own sausage. They're super tasty and way better than anything you can get at the grocery store, and definitely something I'll be making again a lot more often. But all that being said, if you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting that subscribe button. Let YouTube know by dropping a like on this video. If you do give this recipe a try for yourself, be sure to tag me on Instagram at Chuds BBQ. I love to see what y'all are cooking. Big shout out to all the Team Chud members. Thank you for supporting this channel and allowing me to keep making all these videos. And until the next time I see you, please go cook something outside. Peace!